So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's Thursday Live. I am Denise Armenio, certified emotion and body code practitioner, as well as Genius biofeedback practitioner and a certified group energy facilitator. So I just wanted, so glad that everybody could be here today, and just a quick shout out to some of the people that are here. We have, well, of course, we have Claire McIntyre and Connie Minnis here, all helping on the chat, and they are all here to help you as well. And quick shout out to Barbara and Deborah, Fran, and welcome Fran. She made it all the way. She's from South Africa, so I'm glad you could make it today. Ileana and Jackie, Julie, Kristen, oh, so many, Margaret, Marissa. If I'm missing any names, I apologies. We have some new members also, Michelle and Wendy and Valerie and Naomi. So welcome everybody. So we were, Laura Hall had an obligation that she had to do today, so she is not able to be on today. She will be on in 2 weeks. So look forward to having her then. And next week, Karen McDonald will be on with us. As many of you already know, I had mentioned that we are going to continue doing some more work with the Candida aureus, I think that's how you pronounce it, new strain. So that will be really exciting. And Karen McDonald has a lot of great insights to share with everybody. So looking forward to working with that. We will be working with that mostly with the BioTrain library, since I updated that new strain in the Candida and yeast panel in that library. So today, I think that the focus is going to be a little bit on the Entangled insights, just to go over it, because there are so many different things that you can access. It's a really large database, so I wanted to be a little bit slow and meticulous with you guys, so that you can see how it works. And if you have any questions on anything, please put it in the chat, and maybe we can work with that as well. There are some questions coming up in here. Margaret, well, hi to Wendy and everybody that's saying hello. Oh, Margaret, so sweet. Denise and Claire are awesome. And I see fungus coming up on a lot of people. Yeah, it's curious if it is this new strain, the reason for that coming up. And okay, Wendy, I will check my emails. Thank you. And you're welcome, Kristen, for, I'm glad that you're happy that I updated it. So without waiting much longer, let's just go to I'm going to share so you guys can see my screen, and hopefully I can, sorry, I just have to move some of these panels around for Zoom that show up. So is there anybody that would want to be a volunteer today? Somebody that's new that hasn't been a volunteer at this point? Jackie, did I release my body panel for muscles? Not yet, because I didn't finish it, but if you wanted to email me, I can. I've been working with sending out the unfinished library, so you can email me on that at Denise at Inside Health Apps. So any volunteers for today? Anyone? Claire, do you want to be? Connie, do you want to be a Oh, wait. Claire, is that a no?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jackie said she would volunteer. Okay, perfect.
Right,
Jackie,
there you
love to
go.
have you. Let me just, whoops. I'm just putting your name in here. Okay, and are you on video? I don't see you yet.
Okay,
There you are. So nice to see you.
Oh, nice to see you too.
When is your birthday?
September 17th, 1956. I'm seasoned.
Excellent. Looking younger than ever. Okay, so we have all your information here. Now, just at the bottom, we can click continue with new analysis. And again, just for anybody that's new or maybe hasn't used it, on the right where it says load current client results, that is really there when you might have a situation for whatever reason you lose internet or something happens and your Genius may crash for whatever reason. It doesn't happen often, but if it does, it's usually not at the best time for you. But what this gives you the ability to do is that when the Genius comes back online, it will bring up the person who you last worked on, and you can load those current client results. So you won't have to start completely over again. You can just reload them there. So anyway, if anybody was wondering, that is what that's for. So now I'm just going to hit continue with new analysis. Jackie, what would you like to work on? I'm guessing muscles.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I walk about an hour and a half a day. So muscles, really good. Cardiovascular. And let's check diabetes, because I'm not really sure. I haven't checked that in a while, but I wonder if that's a contributing factor, given my age and the fact that I really like cookies.
Muscles, diabetes, and what was the other thing?
Cardiovascular.
Oh, right.
Runs in the family, just checking it out.
Okay, and do you have any physical body pain at this point right now?
Only after I'm done walking. My legs hurt. So, and to tell you the truth, I've walked all my life on concrete as a job for like 10 hours a day. So just blood vessels, the ones that I'm trying to remember the name, sorry, it's escaping my memory right now, but those blood vessels that show up there, you wonder if you have good circulation in your legs. That's varicose veins. Thank you very much. So yeah, those.
Okay, but so did you walk today? Do you have pain today? I'm just trying to ask to see, so we have something to measure like before the session starts. So when it's done, if there's any change in your pain level.
Good question. No walking yet today. That will occur after this.
Okay, any emotional type pain, worry, anxiety, sadness?
I live in the upper Midwest. And so like there's just the Lyme's disease and I don't know, a little bit of anxiety.
Okay, how would you rate that?
Probably at about a 4 or 5 right now.
10 being severe?
10 being severe.
Okay. So I am going to work on that a little bit, just to see if we can lower that for you.
Great.
Okay, so this form here is just for the Genius users' benefit. It does not have anything to do with the scan at all. So you can put whatever notes you need to take on whomever you're working on in here. All right, so here's the part where you leave your voice sample. So I'm going to count you down. I'll say 3, 2, 1, begin. And at that point, say your full legal name and then repeat the vowels A, E, I, O, U until the 15 seconds is up. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, begin.
Jacqueline Ann Aum, A-E-I-O-U, 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 A-E-I.
Perfect. I'm just going to play back the voice harmonics here. And that the voice harmonics is, you'll be able to hear the frequency that the genius translated your spoken voice into.
Right.
And it's important to play this back because it works like a homeopathic. So negative cancels out negative, positive cancels out positive. And so it works, it has a healing effect on you. So let's just play this. Okay, and now we can hit next. And I'm also going to take a little screenshot of you so I can add it. And I might have to do that again, wait, because one of these. There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're not looking in it, but it's fine.
Oh, yeah, no, I was talking to somebody.
Sorry, you moved. It's totally fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to hit begin analysis here. Okay. And now you can, the energetic affirmation here, again, the genius translates the written text into a frequency that gets played. It's like an it overlayered over all the other frequencies when we run the scans. You can put any affirmation in here that you want. The one I typically like to use and use every week here is all energies are transmuted into the frequency of your love. So it is. Okay, and just hit OK. I will hit begin analysis. Before I add my libraries to this, I just want to go down quickly and look at your aura picture. Okay, so let's just, we can save this. And well, for the aura, we're generally looking for bright, vibrant colors. I'm not going to get into too much detail. You guys can really look at some of the videos that I did with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge to get more detail into this, but I would like to see kind of clearing up this outer ring here a little bit with that gray cast to it. It could have some kind of interference or stagnant energy, as well as this center color. There could be some underlying anger or something that's coming in there. I don't know if any of that resonates for you, but you know, and then, you know, trying to brighten some of this. We can look at the old aura, which gives us some information. And again, this little gray area in here would follow with that kind of gray cast overtone in the original version that we just saw. So now I'm just going to go into the back office by hitting those 3 lines up top, and I can go into my libraries. and they just take a little bit of time to process here. So I'm going to add them all and hit OK. And then I need to do the same thing for the master branch libraries. And hit add to client, and again, select all. Now, you don't always have to select all. If you want to narrow your search and the libraries that you work with, you can do that here. And if you want to just make sure that when you're in your back office, you don't select add all libraries to clients at one time, because otherwise it will automatically add them all. I hope that makes sense. And I think it added my master branch. I don't know why I was coming back there, but okay. So anyway, let's wait for this to stop buffering. This is okay. And now we can hit custom libraries, and again, hit begin analysis. Sorry, this is a little bit tedious in here. If anybody has questions, this is probably a good time to ask them while Denise is doing all its thinking and buffering. Okay, so these are all my libraries. And again, for anybody that doesn't know, we can just start here for a second talking about the number system, although it may be a little bit easier to look at when we're on the system homepage. So I'm going to go back there and just talk a little bit about what these numbers mean. The Genius goes from 0 to 777. 0 to 100 is represented by the color blue. And that is observed to be chronic energetic disturbances. In Chinese medicine, it can also be referred to as stagnant energy, and it's also could be referred to as like under energy. We then go to the range from 101 to 450. That's represented by the color green. We then move to the range 451 to 688, and that's represented by the color yellow. And then lastly, the last range is from 689 to 777, and that is represented by the color red. Red is observed to be acute energetic disturbances, meaning that they're happening now. We're seeing them now in the present. They haven't been observed to be, having an energetic disturbance for a long period of time. It could also be referred to as over energy, or in Chinese medicine, heat or inflammation. And the yellow and green area, these items in this area would be considered more in balance, although depending on how much work you want to do and how much balancing you want to do, some people broaden that range. Sometimes people work with all items 600 and above and 200 and below. You'll hear Dr. Kimberly McGeorge tightens it even more. And so everything within 400 to 600, she sees more imbalance, and anything outside of that range, she will work with to try to balance. So some of these things are personal preference and what you want to work with. And there is no right or wrong here. So I just wanted to mention that. So the first thing I do when working with a client is I try to prime the body and make sure that they receive frequencies that are going to best prepare them for taking on frequencies. First thing is make sure that your client is hydrated. That's always very important. And then I like to use my vessel priming library, which is part of the bioterrain. Now, if you don't have that, I would work with all the libraries in the biofield, and you can also add in minerals, vitamins, and amino acids. I do add some other things into this, but that's what I would start with. And so right now I'm just going to add all of these items into the main whole tray so that we can run a quick balance here for you, Jackie. And I am just going to run all of the frequencies for 1 minute and hope that you get a good rectification. Okay, so Kristen asked a really great question. She says, when you add the vitamins, minerals, and amino acids, would you add all those categories or just the highs and the lows? So I tend to add them all. And the reason being for that is when you're adding items to the main whole tray, Genius uses algorithms in this particular tray that looks at the relationship of all the items. So you may have had in the system panel items that were in that yellow and green range that maybe you feel is okay. But when you add them into the main whole tray and you run that analysis there, some of those items may become more out of balance at that time. So it's kind of like thinking of it when you're interacting or having a conversation with two people, you may be in balance, but when a third person comes in, maybe it causes stress for you. And now all of a sudden you're not in balance. So different items, when they're looked at together, can just throw everything off. So you had a really great rectification here. I'm not gonna run this any further because you did do well, and it was 57%, and I'm gonna just try to move that up because I don't know if it's getting cut off for you or not. Can you see the rectification on the bottom, everybody on the screen? Okay, great. So I'm just going to move back there and empty out this main whole tray for now. And the second thing I always like to do is work with the general overview. And you get to the general overview by simply just clicking on system overview. And this will enable the Genius to give you the view of all the line items for all panels, not just on the system overview page, but also from all the library panels that you have. So there is a lot of information that you can work with, especially I find it useful for working with root cause, because a lot of these line items that come up, you may not have thought to go to those library panels. So what I will do here is, because I have so many library panels, I have pages and pages and pages here. I'm not going to scroll all the way through them, but we have an add top 50 and an add bottom 50. And that's what I will use to get to work with, the best 100 items that are up here. And then what I'd like to do is I remove all the libraries, the custom libraries, and now we can just see all the items that are on the system overview page. So this gives you the ability to feel comfortable that you're working with 100 of the 50 of the top red and 50 of the bottom blue. So you're getting a really good sampling of what you need to work on. And only 199 is showing, not 200, and that's because there must be some duplicate. One of the items from the system overview page was also in the top 50 when we had all the libraries included. So that's why there's that little bit of a discrepancy. And then we go back to the main, to the progressive insight page, and we hit begin analysis. And again, I'm going to select all. We have the timer on 1 minute, which you can see here. And I'm going to hit play. Are you sensitive to frequencies? Do you feel them coming through or not so much? Jackie. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I can't hear you because of the music.
Oh, that's okay. I'll wait till it's done. So here we have a lower percent rectification. I am going to rescan this for you, and then I'm going to run just the highs and the lows. Or actually, I'm not going to rescan it yet. I'm just going to clear everything, and I'm going to just select the highs and the lows here and play this again for, I'm going to put it on 0 and play it for 30 seconds.
Interesting to note, I live in an apartment complex right now, and so it had a lot to do with build a home at all corners of the property, which would be interesting. There are 8 units in this building alone, and there's several buildings.
So yeah, so that must have come in from, I'm not sure what library I have that's from, but I'm glad that resonates for you, and hopefully it is working. Oh, sorry, 38 seconds. So it did go up to 33%.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a question here, and it's a really good question. And Fran is asking why I ran the lows in that. And that's a great question. Everybody has a different way of working with the genius. Dr. Debbie Drake will work with the different how she selects her frequency is different. Dr. Kimberly McGeorge has a different way. How I originally learned was that the highs, mediums, and lows here, and you'll hear me talk about it on all the replays, so I don't want you to be confused or think that I'm changing information, but I think it is good that we keep an open mind and remember that when we are working in the quantum field, intention is really important. So where our intention is, energy flows. And so however we hold the intention of how this is going to work is how it will. So you could hold the intention that the highs, mediums, and lows here are representing what the priority is to work with. And that is how, I speak of it in many of my other videos. But since I've been working more closely with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, she likes to pull the highs and the lows. And from her findings and her abilities, she sees the highs as stressors, but the lows are really where you need to work with. So again, there isn't a right or a wrong here. It's just the intention that you're holding. So I always like to keep an open mind and try not to have a belief system on what the right or wrong way is, and just hold the intention of how I want to work in that moment with that particular client. So I hope, I hope that answered sufficiently for you, Fran, and for everyone else. So anyway, you had a 33% rectification. Well, it's not 40% for this demonstration purposes. It's good for right now. I do want to rescan it though for you. And let's just, we can work on the highs and the lows again here. And we're going to run it for 30 seconds. Okay, so we had, I'm sorry if you guys couldn't hear me well. I am seeing a chat message from Margaret, so apologies if you can't hear me all the way. Oh, there were some messages here covered up. Is it? I can try lowering the volume when the music is running, so maybe it's not that loud. If that would help, I can certainly.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
can, sure, I can do that. So again, 26% rectification. If we had more time, I would run this again, also from the standpoint that there is a bit of a range on the harmony, alignment, and energy flow. I really like to see that closer, like the range no more than 20%, just because I don't feel that it may hold as well if that range starts getting bigger. It may balance now, but it might easily be triggered and go out of balance again if these numbers aren't closer together. So anyway, I am going to clear in the main hold tray. And we can go back now and we can look at the system main page. Now you wanted to work on cardiovascular, anxiety. I do want to work on that so we can see if you can get a measurable change in here, and also your muscles. So and I also want to bring in the entangled insights, which I said that we would work with a little bit today. So I'm just looking at the time here. Let's look at today's, where did it go? Today's stress, and see what's showing up. So cardiovascular is at 631. So let's just look, and then we have acid and pathogen. So let's use cardiovascular as our entangled insights. And first I want to tap here, and it's going to, this is a really long, an extensive database. And it gives you some of the main categories all in the beginning, but if you work through this, you'll see that there are some really neat things that you can search for and look for. And I just want to, it is alphabetical. So this is all now the Bach flower essences. So I just scrolled a little bit faster through that. If you should have backache and spasms, or I know, I don't remember some of the, these are all the different bacteria. So you could just hit all. I'm thinking to just look at the homeopathics, but I wanted to see if there's some other interesting items that we may want to work with. If anybody else works with this all the time and you have a suggestion on something that you may want me to bring up, there are all these different types of cancers. Now, remember, when we're looking at this, these are energies. This is not a diagnostic in here when you're working with this. So please, if you're working with clients, make sure that they know that, because they, will get concerned about that. So Claire is saying healing and regeneration, that is a good one. And yeah, oh, Jackie, you're asking that. I'm trying to look for what it has here for cardio, and I'm not really seeing anything. So let's see if there's circulation disturbances. Perfect. So let's put that in here. And let's just see healing and regeneration. I guess I hit it twice. And let's just hit, oh, I actually wanted to hit homeopathic. So I'm going to go back to this in a second. Hold on. So let's just add in and I'm not sure if miasm is in here. Yeah, I don't see anything there. So let's just check these again. The Entangled Insights does get pretty labor intensive. So I don't always use it all the time, but it can be really helpful. So we see 3 homeopathics that are coming up. So these might be helpful for you for cardiovascular. I'm not suggesting that you take the physical form of it, but at least the energetics of it might be helpful for you. And we could also look at the bottom. There are a lot on the bottom, or these ones that are in the 1% area that we could add to. And again, you're going to see different people work with these differently. I know that Dr. Deb, when she works in the Entangled Insights, you know, if you want to think about a bell curve, what's in the middle is kind of your mean. And then when you get each standard deviation out, which is going to bring you to the hundreds or the 1%, she, I think, goes 85% and above and 15% and below. But sometimes you might have a lot in that number range. So you may not want to add all of those. Ryan has add the top 50 and add the bottom 50. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to use that as my range. So I'm not sure why it only gave me 87.
Denise, I think that the top 50 and the bottom 50 are really good when you've loaded the entire matrix. You've probably got less items with it just being the
Oh, you're right. Good point. So you mean there's not even 100 items in here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's just, great point, Claire. Thank you. So we're going to have to drag and drop, guys. So let's add in all these hundreds. And why don't we just add everything above 90%? Okay, and now we can go and we'll do 10% and below. We would have to look up. I don't know what each of these homeopathics represent, but that is the beauty of the genius, is that we don't have to. We just trust that somehow these frequencies are out of balance and we want to bring them back into harmony or balance. Okay. So we can go to our progressive insights and now we can run a scan here. And let's run, we're going to run this for 30 seconds again. Let's run all of them. I'm so curious. Does anybody want to Google what the top homeopathic is for?
That one I don't know, but the ruta graveolens, isn't that for muscles?
What?
I think ruta graveolens is for muscles, I thought. I'm not sure. If I can.
That first one was sore throat relief.
Oh, Margaret is saying it's for rheumatism and skin disorders.
Good.
I don't know if that resonates or makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. It's all working with the tissues. Interesting. So the top one is for soreness, restlessness, a glandular remedy with heat and inflammation. It's for fibrous tissue, fascia, muscle sheaths, and scar tissue.
There's your muscles.
There we go.
Great. We just knocked off 2 items on your
You're
list.
talking to me. It's working.
We have 15 minutes left, so I'm trying to get it all in.
Right.
Okay, so you had a 25% rectification here. Let's rescan and I went more than 30 seconds because I was trying to hear you and lost track of the time. So, and let's just work with the highs and the lows and work with 30 seconds again. And
It's interesting. The homeopathics are used for so many different things.
yeah, and a lot of times they work for something that doesn't even say what they're intended to work for. So
That adds to the fun. So the silica would be restorative for the tissues in the body. And opium sounds like it's going for relaxation, right?
I'm not sure. You did have a good rectification here. Again, I'm not the different uses for all the homeopathics is not my wheelhouse. I will tell you just a side note, my favorite homeopathic for me that I've used a lot is catharsis. And I've had great success using that for bladder infections. So just FYI, anyone has issues with bladder infections, that has worked really, really, really well for me. So 43% rectification. Let's go back. We can clear out this home page now. And let's go to the custom libraries. And so this little arrow in the center, like with this pull down with the black, this is going to give us an advanced search. Right now, blue is highlighted for library, and that means whatever I type in the search, it's searching the library titles. If I highlight master, it's going to search the master branch titles, and all. I don't use all a lot, to be quite honest, because it's really, really broad, the search. It's going to search titles and line items, and you'll just get a ton of information, which you might need at some point, but I haven't really needed that use as of yet. But let's look up anxiety in here. So let's add in some solutions in here that are helpful for anxiety to start with. And let's just add in the ones that are below 200. We can use this library that has some solutions as well, and we'll do 600 and above. And I'm going to add everything from this library in, because we just don't know when the main whole tray looks at it in relation, what's going to show up. And the other thing I want to add in here is go to the Alaskan library, the gem elixirs. And, if we're experiencing anxiety or depression, it means we're either focused on the past, which would be depression, or anxiety would be the future. So you're tending not to be grounded. So I am going to add, and if you notice right now, that is showing high. So it's saying that you have some form of imbalance. So I am going to, again, I'll add the reds and blues here, and we can go into analysis.
So I was writing a business plan this morning for a new business.
Mhm.
And I had just gotten done before this, checking out the competition with the NGOs and all that other kind of stuff that would interfere with my business. And that's where my anxiety kicked in. Because I said,
Well, let's hope we can do something about it.
Goodness.
So let's click all. Dopamine is coming up on top. I'm just gonna I'll run these for 1 minute. Working on releasing some emotional trauma from ages 4 to 7. So hopefully
yes. Oh my
that will
goodness.
be helpful for you.
It's amazing how deep some groups go in control around the area. I'm just surprised that it's in this area. In my naivety, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. So 52% rectification, super, super happy with that. And your harmony, alignment, and energy flow, the numbers are really tight in there. So again, that makes me really happy. Is your anxiety still a 4 or 5?
No, it's coming down. It's interesting that what you're thinking, how that affects your aura, right?
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
what-
absolutely.
the part that I was getting done with right before this was the anxiety producing part. And so that muddied all the waters in the aura. Isn't that interesting?
It absolutely is. So with that said, let's go back and check out what is happening with your aura picture. Hopefully we can see if we can move some of that stagnant energy in there.
And the ages of 4 to 7, I have no idea. We were just a bunch of kids running through the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything, right? You could have watched a scary movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, yeah, you can't,
Oh, the Wizard of Oz with the monkeys flying.
that was a big one for me too. But, my point being, you can't, when you're clearing this stuff, and especially with children in those ages, in those formidable years, like the most innocent of things could be, really scary for a child. And if you think back to our youth, is when, I'm not going to quote any doctors' names here because I don't want to get it wrong or have it taken as in a bad way. But, back when we were little, parents were taught when you discipline kids, you might give them a little smack on on their bottom or something, but that could potentially be really scary for a child. For one child, it may not be scary. For another one, it could, and that could register as trauma when you're doing some of these things. So children that grow up thinking that they've had, really happy childhoods could, trauma could show up, then you could also have trauma that's showing up from past lives or bleed through from the ancestral line. So, there's so many different ways that frequencies can show up, and a client might say, yeah, that's not me, that didn't happen. But, energy doesn't really lie. So it's there at some level. So, the important thing is that we could just work with it, and we have such a great tool to work with it and to balance it. So Deborah's saying she was thinking about the flying monkeys too. I was terrified of that, I have to admit. So here is your aura. It is looking a little bit better. This black in here, it would be good if we could maybe clear that. I don't think that we're going to get to that today. That is some form. I would actually, what I would like to work with that just quickly. I'm going to clear all these. Oops. And I just want to go into the spiritual protection library. Interestingly, grounding is showing up there. So that falls right into, you not being, all the way in your body. Psychic attacks cleared. So, that could very well be some of that black that's showing up in there. And also, again, Dr. Kimberly will mention, well, I have to be careful what I say here. So, but certain shedding or other things could influence what our aura looks like. I think most of you know what I'm talking about in here, so I'm not going to go into more depth, but, we just want to, be aware that that could be causing some of those shadings as well.
It's interesting because I've always used in the
Sarah, I'll
past.
have to, you can email me just to remind me. I'll have to look to see what specific library that was that you're looking for, because I don't know off the top of my head. So let's just run all of these for 1 minute.
So in the past, I've used Bach flowers to clear, and emotions and Bach flowers to clear the aura. But you're going at it a different way here. Which do you find more useful?
I always find before I really work with physical issues, I work at the spiritual level.
Okay.
So that's just my sorry, I'm just reading something from Dr. Deb. Deb, I'm not really aware of that, of a problem uploading the voice and the photo right now. So that might be a question you want to direct to Ryan or put in the hub, but I'm not aware of any issues there. Claire, are you aware of any issues there?
No.
62%, that is awesome. We are running out of time, but let's go look, because I'm always so curious how that's your aura is looking after we work with the spiritual protection. And sometimes it could make it look a little worse too, because we're going to kick up a bit of a dust when we're working with them. So, but that looks much better.
Yeah.
So I hope you're feeling better.
Oh, yes. Thank you for straightening me out.
You're welcome. But so, yeah, I'm really a firm believer that working with the spiritual aspect, especially when you're working before you get to physical stuff, you want to work with the spiritual. It's really important. And that spiritual protection library that should be your best friend. So
Okay,
let me
good.
just see any questions here that are coming up. Wendy says it's a way better aura now, and I definitely agree with you, and Fran agrees as well. Yes, Margaret, Dr. Kimberly and myself, we will be teaching more in-depth classes soon. We're trying to put a calendar together for that and work with that. So stay tuned, and we will be getting some more information for everybody on that. So with that said, this has been an amazing Thursday. Jackie, I hope that you've enjoyed this session and everybody has learned a lot and liked the deep dive into the entangled insights. And any last questions anyone may have before we sign off?
Thanks, Denise. It was amazing to watch you go through Entangled Insights and kind of like a grocery shopping list to select what can be useful for that client to balance them out. That was really good. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you find it helpful. And, you know, it's so, I always get, you know, it excites me so much. That sounds really silly sometimes, but when you look at the definitions of some of those homeopathics, but you may not know, and how you're like, wow, that's like, makes total sense now. So,
right.
The genius is pretty amazing. So trust it. Don't everybody, I know everybody always wants to work with protocols, but you don't always want to put everything in the same box. You know, everything is going to be unique because anything can cause anything. So be open-minded, trust your gut, trust the genius, and work with the Spiritual Protection Library.
Yes, definitely. Thanks a lot, Denise. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone. And we will see you next week. And again, don't forget, mark your calendar. I will have Karen McDonald as my special guest, and we will be diving into that new Candida strain. So mark your calendar, sign up, and come back, and can't wait to see everyone. There we go. And I need to stop the recording.